This is the way that it'll come in the box. This cable will be disconnected, and the guide for the chain will be separate. Really quick install. When it comes in the box, you just pop this in. You make sure that the dial indicator is on the front where you have your angle indicator, and you just tighten this knob underneath really quick. That's in there. Second thing is you have to take this cable here, and this cable is what's used to hold the chain in place when you are going to sharpen. You have to take the little nut off the end and the little washer off the end. You're going to feed that through all the way through to the other side. Put that little washer on and tighten this nut up here. The only tools you're going to really need is you may need a screwdriver just to tighten this nut down. The end of the threads here have a little place for a screwdriver, so you can kind of get in there and tighten that up so that it's secure. So what that's going to do now is as you can see when and I'll lean this in a little bit here, when you pull this brake on top, it pulls that bar forward, and that's what's going to hold the chain in place when you're sharpening. So what's next? So we have some setup to do. The way that this comes is there's two knobs to adjust. The first knob is here. What this does is this has a little flip here, but what this is going to do is it's going to ensure that when you have your chain in here, that every time the tooth is in the same position. So let's grab a chain here. I've got a chain here, and now you flip this up, put the chain under here, and you put this down. And as you can see, that little stop there is making sure that the chain comes every time to the same place. Now, obviously, you have to adjust this so that it's stopping in the right place that orients to the grinding wheel. So what I do is I just looked here and we've got to adjust it here. So first thing is you got to set your gauge down here actually to the right angle. So this is a regular cross-cut chain, which is kind of, you're cutting through the log that we're using here. So we would set that to around 30 degrees, and you can check this later. But what you'd see is you'd figure out where this is going to hit, and you'd say, okay, now if you want to advance this forward, in other words, you want to line up the edge of this tooth here, the cutting tooth, with this bar, and you would use this. Now, get behind here. And as you can see, as I twist this forward, that little guide is going to push the tooth forward. So you use that to line up the tooth position so that you're ready when the grinding blade comes down, that it contacts the right place in the tooth. Once that's set up, the way that you'd advance it is you just rotate these yellow knobs and it clicks forward. And you'll get to the next tooth. And when you're there, you can back it up. The tooth is now resting up against the guide, and you can press the handbrake, and you'll see, I'll move my hand, you'll see that slides in now, and now this chain is secure. It cannot move, and we know that the tooth is in the right place to go against the grinding wheel. And this will ensure that every tooth is in the same location and contacting the grinding wheel, and so you're getting a good sharpen on each of the teeth. So that's the one adjustment. The second adjustment, and I'll rotate this around so you can see. I have to take the chain off here to get around. Get the chain off there. All right. Rotate this around. In the back, there's this second knob here. This is the depth adjustment. So the one on the front orients the tooth in the same position. What this does is this sets the depth that the grinder can go down. So we don't want the grinder to go too deep. If we do, the grinder will not only sharpen this part of the tooth, it'll actually go down into the link and damage it. So we need to set the depth on this so that it's coming down to sharpen the tooth, but not go as deep to damage the link. So that's the other setting that you'll have to set up on your chainsaw sharpener. So once those two things are set up and you've got that lined up and ready, you're basically ready to go.